Okay, forgot my reading glasses again, of course, okay. It is, it's June 16th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Beaver Township trustees. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Kepler?
Here.
Mr. Tabor?
Here.
Mrs. Simmons will be via teleconference okayed for the prosecutor's office for COVID-19. Mrs. Simmons?
Here.
Okay. Purpose of this meeting is to evaluate personnel, discuss contracts, appropriation changes, and COVID-19 related issues. Okay. Mr. Watts, what do you?
We just have a couple appropriation changes regarding, we talked about the new road truck and just a couple other small items there. So I, as Richard Lotz, fiscal officer, is requesting that the Board of Trustees approve the following appropriation changes as presented.
I'll make that resolution 2023 that we accept as presented.
Second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Kepler?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Here.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, what about discussions here on any questions on the walking trail?
I got a few things. I was just asking Dave about. We had talked about putting a drain. There's a area between the stage and where the walk comes down. It floods real bad. We were gonna throw a drain in there while we were working on it, and just tie it in with their new curbing drains they're gonna do or whatever. And then I also asked them about maybe putting a curb in front of the closed pavilion there instead of a 90 degrees, just up for walking and everything will be a little easier. And then also where the construction or the driveway entrance is for music in the park and stuff, where they drive through the park and baseball field, I thought we should probably beef that up in there for cars, vehicle traffic. So we thought that would be a good idea. Other than that, that was about all I had.
Do we need to have those changes before we accept anything tonight?
Well, we'll add those, you know, just so everybody knows, plans are at 95% complete, and for example, I don't think that we added the park bench. We still have to add the park, and we wanted to add that in here in the bid, did we not? Or are you gonna do that separate?
Do that separate.
Oh,
The
okay.
park benches will be separate.
Just
okay,
the
so the concrete,
Right.
the concrete pad is gonna be.
Correct.
Okay, and I don't know if everybody saw the concrete pad. I made it a little bit larger. When we drew it to scale, put the bench and the trash receptacle there, it was a little bit tight, so we bumped it out another I want to say 4 feet. So it's 16 by 6, which is a big pad.
That is big.
But it is what it is. Okay. And we're gonna go with asphalt. We're not gonna bid it as concrete.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, asphalt only. Okay. Great.
Dave, do you know how long, like, what is the length of this?
Overall,
Yes.
it is almost 1,800 feet,
Okay.
which is 3 times around would give you a mile.
Okay, very nice. I'm so excited about this project.
Thanks to our donor for helping us out.
Yes, and I want to just interrupt for a second. I want to make sure that the public's aware that this project is privately funded. This is not taxpayer dollars being spent on this project. This is through our donated money from a donor.
Correct. Same one that did how we funded the tennis court and.
Yes, he also funded the tennis court and the stage. And just to let the trustees know, I did talk to him today. He's okay with it.
Good.
And he said he just hopes that the public enjoys it.
Okey-doke. Any other questions or? Okay.
So with that, with those changes that we talked about tonight, those 4 different ones that we'll look at, I'll come back and readjust the cost estimate based
Okay.
upon that. And then all we've got to do is go out to bid, pick the bid dates, which Tracy and we went over a little bit with that.
They're on your agenda.
Yeah.
And then prevailing wages, and you're good to go.
Scott, did you have anything else? I don't
have
think I have
anything
it.
related to this, no, I think everything looks good, I think that you did a great job on putting this together,
Well, thank you.
very thorough.
I'm excited about it.
So am I.
Yeah.
I think just, on my own opinion, I think it's gonna be a great place to go for walking and exercise and that kind of thing.
Okay, and I'll make resolution 2024 that we accept the, plan.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Kapler?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll make resolution 2025 that we approve the Woodworth Park Walking Trail advertisement schedule. The first advertisement will be Tuesday, June 23rd, second, Tuesday, June 30th, third, Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. Bids will be due Tuesday, July 14th, 2020 at noon. Bids will be open Tuesday, July 14th, 2020 at 5:30 PM at a special Board of Trustees meeting at the administration. Second, please.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Kapler?
Yes.
Mr. Tabor?
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have the phone number or know who in charge of the baseball association?
I have the phone number and I have the president of the baseball association. It's been a very confusing issue, trying to figure out, I have requested twice from the president of the baseball association, the signed contract, and the last that we had talked, told me it would be this week.
Well, that's a moot point after today. The prosecutor said that contract's too old now.
Yeah.
And they don't want to accept it, they wanna look at it and make some revisions, but did they just go ahead and tell other people, other towns they could use the fields, or what?
No, the way she described it to me, the South Range Baseball Association is not playing this season.
Okay.
Some of the kids that were originally on the South Range Baseball Association they went to Columbiana, for example, and they were playing on their teams. But as far as actual playing on the baseball fields, she did not mention anything to me about using the baseball fields. It was strictly the kids that, still wanted to play baseball. They sort of transferred or did whatever they did, So it's the kids, not the fields. She did also mention to me that they were going to there was one team associated with South Range Baseball, as I understood it, that was gonna be playing on one of the baseball fields. As of yet, I haven't seen them play, but I also understand that this week is the beginning of their baseball seasons for area, youth baseball. So, they have done some work on the baseball fields. We've also done work on the baseball fields. In fact, we just completed some work on Woodworth today. But as far as anything definite from the Baseball Association playing or anything, to my knowledge, they're not playing. They said they would help clean it up and mow it and stuff, but that's the extent.
When I talked to the prosecutor's office today, they said each association should have their own contract. They all need to sign it.
Yeah,
And then they brought up the COVID-19 thing, there's
Right.
another contract for that right now with all that's going on, so the township is liable for that also.
So these teams is this sponsored by, we don't know if it's sponsored by this baseball or whatever?
No, and in all fairness, we're kind of in uncharted waters here because we've never dealt with another league or another, organization coming in and playing, because it's always been the South Range. So we don't even have any kind of
What about insurance? Yeah, they have insurance, or we don't know?
no.
If somebody gets hit by a fly ball or something.
Yeah, so who?
Well, no matter who, they always have to give us that liability.
Yeah, they have to furnish a liability insurance. That's any league that uses, whether it's soccer or any group has to furnish that. But as far as an outside, league coming in and playing or whatever,
Yeah, how do we find out who that is?
We need to find it out, because they're gonna have to give us the paperwork.
yeah.
If they wanna play on the field.
Yeah, and if you're okay with it, if there's one, Boardman, was one of their teams that, called and inquired about it. And I told him it was still a fluid situation, I couldn't tell him one way or the other, what we were gonna do. If you're okay with that, I can get back to him and say, the baseball field's available, they'll have to sign, go through like we normally do with the proof of insurance and those kind of things, I mean, but we still don't have a contract even for,
Right.
that they would have to
That's
sign.
their fault, because they were given that, they come in here and picked up a copy, they were told to,
Do the prosecutors have any guidance as far as COVID-19 social distancing for the crowds,
You can do-
for the
yeah, I mean,
kids?
It's pretty vague from what I
Is
talked
it?
to him today, yeah.
Okay.
you could do, I mean, it's gonna be, that's what's gonna be the responsibility basically of whoever's
Okay.
running the show.
Yeah, it was basically following the CDC guidelines that are current as of today, cause it seems like they're changing,
Every day.
yeah, every day, so.
So we just need to find out who's used. I mean,
Right.
which is somebody from the, we need to call the Green Beaver or the Baseball Association, find out if they know who, I mean, there's gotta be somebody from their league that's playing on the team.
I don't think anybody's played on it yet, have they? But it seems like they're getting it prepared for.
They've been, I saw somebody practicing,
Oh,
a
is that
bunch of
right?
kids the other night, there was no uniforms or nothing.
Okay.
But now I know, I thought it was just a bunch of kids out
Okay.
playing, but it's somebody,
And I would just suggest that if that's even South Range Baseball Association, that they still need to furnish us with, you know, proof of insurance and those kind of things.
you have a contact person then?
Yeah,
I wanna see what we can find out then.
I have the president's phone number at the Baseball Association.
It sounded like they were gonna work on updating that contract, cause even Scott brought up the point where Woodward's not even listed in there.
Right, yeah, so
there's
so we need to,
definitely some holes in it.
Yeah.
after we're done, maybe we can try calling this guy here after we get done with the rest of our business before we go, and see
I think it's a lady, isn't it?
see what he has to say.
Yeah, it's like.
Okay, what else do you have on for us, Scott?
Well, a few things. Needless to say, it's been a crazy time. My phone's been ringing off the hook for just about every day, including my personal phone. People wanting to know about the playground. I could tell you that as of today, another park, Firestone Park has opened up their playground. Boardman has opened up their playground. One of the things that I was concerned about was the way one of the rules and the state has stipulated that the playground equipment should be wiped down hourly. We simply can't do that. And my recommendation would be, if the trustees decide to open it up, that we sanitize the playground equipment in the morning, that we also furnish hand sanitizer dispenser there at the playgrounds, and also that we post our signs that we've got in different places in the park pertaining to washing your hands and those kind of things. I just think that, and it's just my personal opinion, that there has to be some kind of responsibility too by the folks that are using the playground, as far as the kids and that go, washing their hands after they're done, before they start even, using the playground. But I think it's important to remember that our parks aren't as big as your other parks' playgrounds as far as how much they get used. There's days where they don't even get used. So to really go and do it, even every other hour or whatever, is kind of a moot point in a lot of ways. So I think that if we just take my opinion, and I can confer with the Board of Health on that, and see what their recommendations would be, that we can go ahead and, if we can make all reasonable attempts to make sure the playgrounds are sanitized and that kind of thing, that we look at reopening them. I just, one of the people that I talked to from the state and from the county had mentioned that ultraviolet, the sunlight, kills a lot of the germs. And, so right now the playgrounds are not open. We are probably the only one at this point now that's still closed. The other parks are now open. But I think, as long, I just, we can only do so much. I mean, we can make every reasonable attempt to, sanitize. We've even got the sprayers already to go ahead and spray and that kind of stuff, and furnish the hand sanitizer, and just post the signs saying that, this is what we recommend that you do. And
I agree, that's what.
I agree too, 100%.
You found
Time to
some
open.
things that we could make some hand sanitizing stations, right?
I
put 'em on some poles
I just have to check
in
with
the
Real
park.
tomorrow to make sure that we can get a multitude of the refills.
Okay.
That are
Trustees,
secured.
Yeah, concrete on.
trustees, the other thing that I've been dealing with, and I've been going back and forth with the state on this and that, you may recall about 2 or 3 weeks ago, the governor came out and said it was okay for outdoor entertainment, which would be music, that kind of thing, specifically in our case. Pending, we submit a plan to them. And I contacted the state and to inquire about where we would send a plan. And they in turn sent me back to the county and said that's their responsibility. Long story short, I finally got that taken care of yesterday. I talked to one of the gentlemen from the Board of Health, who said, Scott, if you submit me a plan and it looks good, he said, I will confirm that and send you a confirmation back, and you're good to go for music. I had left him a verbal, what we'd like to do, and I will tell you, this is some of what I put. We are not going to furnish park benches. Folks will have to bring their own seating or blanket. We will have hand sanitizer. We will enforce the 6-foot rule as far as distancing.
Except for family groups.
Right. Well, if it's, we will not have the open air pavilion, which is close to the stage. It will not be open. And we will not have refreshments available so that we don't have people, congregating around. He was good with that. He said, it sounds like you got a good plan there. And also I said we would have a couple ushers sort of to keep, make sure everybody keeps the distance. And if some people want to stay in their cars, that's an option. They can do that.
What about restrooms?
Restrooms, we are not going to have outhouse like we normally do, porta johns.
Okay.
We're going to use the restrooms at the pavilion.
Do we have to open those, or, cause I've read state parks don't have to open.
Well, you don't have to, but as long as we furnish the hand sanitizer, as long as we keep an eye on them as far as sanitizing goes, and as long as we have the toilet seat covers available, we're okay. And so
Every time you
that's,
speak, Pam, you're freaking me out. It's like I keep, and I keep forgetting you're there, sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry.
but those are the things between the baseball, the playgrounds, and I would also mention that we did cancel the pavilion rentals because it just got to the point where, I'll give you an example. The state wants us, if we would have been, to keep the tables 6 feet apart. You can also not socialize.
Right.
You have to go in and sit at that chair. You cannot have any more than the number of chairs you have in that facility. So if you have 50 chairs, you only have 50 people in there. And in our case, because of the 2 pavilions, in order to reach that 6-foot distance between tables, we would have to take at least half the tables out. So now you're at half the population that you can have in your attendance. And and I have to tell you, the folks that I talked to that had rented the pavilion, they were expecting it.
Yeah.
They said they kind of felt that's what it was going to be. And a lot of them were actually relieved because they had family reunions, they had graduations with family coming in from out of town. They didn't want to have to wonder, if it was going to happen, so they were happy. And that was good, and I appreciate the public's, cooperation in that. It's certainly not our doings, it's the times, signs of the times. So, that's been pretty much the different. I would also just add to the trustees that this Music in the Park would start on July 15th. There would be 7 Music in the Park programs. The bands that I contacted all agreed to play, and they would social distance on the stage, because we now have a big stage, 20 by 40 feet, so when you have 4 or 5 band members, they can go 6 feet. But they were all excited and willing to play. Also, we have not canceled anything after July 15th, so we're still being, we could still possibly have a Veterans Day program in November. Maybe do it outside like we used to in the good old days, and have it across the street. Another one that's still on the board, so to speak, would be the kids' trunk and treat, where they collect the candy, the kids. So that's a possibility that's still out there. but time will tell. So, but other than that,
That's all fall stuff, so hopefully things will be worked out by then.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Can I ask one question to Scott?
yes,
When you get confirmation from the Board of Health that this is confirmed and approved, will you let me know and we will put a splash on the website?
sure. In fact, I had a phone call just today from a lady that wanted to know if we were going to post that information on the township's website, and I said, yes, we can do that.
Okay,
So-
let me know as soon as you know, and if you know, are you gonna have a modified band schedule, or do you have like a list of bands and all that? Will you have that ready as well? Did you change anything, or is it still the same as what your original?
It's still the same 7 bands.
Okay.
If you go from the July 15th to the end of August, those bands are still there. There was
Okay,
one,
okay.
there's one new band that's there that I can let you know about. It's Muleface Brothers, country band. One of the bands, I should add, that did not want to, because of the virus. They were older
Okay.
members and did not want to play. So, we're filling that group in with them. But also, I would mention that I'm gonna start working on some kind of promotions, flyers or whatever. And once the Board of Health approves that plan, I'm gonna put some of those roles in that advertising, or, the flyers. That this is, if you come to music, this is the things that will be not there as usual, and, other things that are to be expected.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay. What do we got next? Police Chief Frost is requesting the Board of Trustees promote Emily.
Here,
What's that?
here.
To full-time dispatcher 3 effective June 28, 2020. Make that formal motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kepler.
Yes.
Mr. Tabor.
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons.
Yes,
Okay, what about? Brad Burbick's requesting the Board of Trustees approve purchase of a 2020 Ford F-550 4x4 chassis with equipment through the state purchase from Valley Ford Truck in the amount of $93,830. As a reminder, we received $41,000 at auction for the boom mower. And Ken Bauer, Bear Auction, gave an estimate of $20,000 to $25,000 for the old truck based on what he's been seeing at other auctions. So what do we wanna do, guys? Ladies?
So, what would the cost be? Probably 25,000, 30,000?
Well, if we,
new
41,
particulars off.
65, about, yeah,
666,000.
about 30 grand.
30,000.
I'm always, my experience over the years has been when you need a plow truck, you need it.
Right.
In the winter time, you can't have it breaking down, and we've had pretty good luck keeping up with our equipment.
I think it's been an issue of getting parts from what I've heard
Yeah.
for that truck that we currently have.
We'll make that resolution 2026.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Kepler.
Yes.
Mr. Tabor.
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons.
Yes,
Okay. Anything else? Before we go to executive? Well, we're in executive session, Scott, with Larry there from, you wanna try to contact that guy from the Baseball Association, see what he knows?
Yeah, I can contact her. It's, I've got her phone number.
I know she knows who's using the field or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, it's 5:54. Make a motion according to Ohio Revised Code 121.22, we go into executive session to evaluate personnel and discuss contracts. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kepler.
Yes.
Mr. Tabor.
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons.
yes.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thank you, thanks for the input, it always helps.
Look forward to working
You
with
need
you.
to
Okay.
take Pam with you.
How's Germantown?
Brad hasn't called us any
I know
problems.
they got some of the.
Be gentle, Ron, be
Some of the
gentle.
concrete in, I guess.
It was,
Good.
dealing with ODOT, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
See you, Dave.
They see ya.
I feel pretty stupid, I
Dave,
should have
Dave,
stopped. I
Dave.
were practicing down there, I should have stopped and found out what was going on.
Yeah.
Dave's doing the, I tell him.
What do you think there, Scott?
I don't know, I'm just going with the flow. Okay, you still, you got, are we,
You're all back.
we're good?
Wait, so
Okay. I'm gonna start using military terms here.
I don't understand.
Okay, return from executive session at 6:12. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Kapler.
Here.
Mr. Tabor.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons.
Here.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second that.
Roll call.
Mr. Kapler.
Yes.
Mr. Tabor.
Yes.
Mrs. Simmons.
Thank you.